You're listening to Sip and Grow the podcast, the show where we taste awesome, delicious wines while having unfiltered conversations about our passions, experiences, struggles, entrepreneurship, and life. My name is Nicole Di Pasquale, and I'm a wine enthusiast just trying to pursue her passions and dreams while taking you on the journey with me, one episode at a time. My ultimate goal is to not only bring you wine knowledge and value, but also inspire you to enjoy your process and journey in pursuing your passions and dreams. Because guess what? The person you become while enduring the process is more important. So sit back, grab a glass, and let's sip and grow together.
Hello all, and welcome back to another episode of Sip and Grow the podcast. I am here with Dakota Wallace, my beautiful friend, who, if you haven't seen our previous episode, she has been on an episode on Sip and Grow. She's back. I am currently visiting her in New Hampshire, in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Did I say that? Right?
That's the place.
Is that where we're at?
It's a rented cabin.
Yeah.
I just want people to know that this is not my aesthetic.
What, you mean you don't love all these quilts that you have around you?
It's cozy.
Yeah. Well,
And
this
if it
fireplace
ever
is fire.
Got real cold, I got all the blankets here.
All the blankets.
All the
Blanket up.
Blankets.
Well, quilts, but yeah. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. So today we're gonna have a wine from Italy. It's actually from the Piedmont region. We had gone to Eataly in Boston before coming up here to this beautiful cabin that is rented, as Dakota said.
Not mine.
Not hers.
Don't own it.
Not her aesthetic, not her vibe, but we love the coziness.
Love it cozy.
We picked up this wine from Italy. It is, the reason why I was drawn to it was because it's from a place called Valle D'Aosta, which is like a mountain place in Italy that is known, like, it's kind of like the, what's that place, Aspen of Italy, I would say.
Ooh, I like an Aspen.
I know. It's actually in the northwest part of Italy, right next to the Alps, the Western Alps. So borderline French and Switzerland, I believe. So
Seems like good geography.
yeah, it's a very good place to go skiing if you like to ski. But I was researching this bad boy up, and they do like limited production, and they're on a steep hill basically because they're on a mountain.
Hills be hillin'.
So their production is very limited, and also they do everything by hand because tractors cannot fit on those steep slopes of theirs. So this grape varietal is actually Nebbiolo, which they have a name for it. It's called Picon. I wrote it down. This is why notes come in handy. It is called
I just drink the wine.
Pico Tendro, which is just their way of saying it's like the name for the Nebbiolo grape varietal in Valle D'Aosta. So we're going to open the wine because Dakota's getting dry over here. And if you want, Dakota, you can tell the people that are new to this episode, that don't know who you are to me.
Oh, just to you? That's far easier than who I am as a whole.
No, we don't. This is one episode. It's
we don't have 4 hours.
Whole, yeah,
Shocker. Nicole and I met study abroad just about 10 years ago now. I think the summer is 11.
It's gonna be 11.
It's gonna be 11 this summer. 10 years ago, we both went in blind. We went to different colleges. That made me real nervous. Auntie vibes coming in hard. Auntie arm. And we both studied abroad. We both went in random. We were some of the few people who had a good roommate-ship out of the whole time. And ever since then, we've been besties.
And if you want to listen to that whole story, that's actually on the other episode.
And that one got recorded twice. So we kept a PG in the first one, but no one got to hear that. So we went real
on the second one.
We went real PG-13R on the
Yep,
second
we
one.
went raw on the second one because we were already like half a wine bottle in.
And I was dying sick.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I was literally on my deathbed in that podcast.
We were outside and it was super cold. The vibes.
It's kind of hot compared to here.
Well, okay, for the Florida girl, it was super cold. For the non-Florida girl, it was not that cold.
It's just a Tuesday.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and pour this wine so you can try
Let's do it. Let's wet this beak.
And tell me what you
Isn't
think.
that a weird saying?
Wet this beak. What is that? I have
Like
never heard
it's
that.
like put a beverage in your mouth. Get a little moisture back in there. Wet your beak.
Is that how they talk in Western Massachusetts?
I think they talk about that in a lot of places.
Interesting.
Smells like
What does it smell like?
wine.
Oh.
No.
Woman of many words, just like my brother. Smells like grapes.
Juiced grapes.
Juiced grapes. Fancy juiced grapes.
One might say aged. Okay, real talk.
Real time.
There's some good acidity notes in there.
Yeah, one of the things I love about a Nebbiolo grape is like it's
So
you really went in on that sniff. You said, "Let me sniff."
what do you love about this grape, Nicole?
Well, that it tends to be highly acidic and tannic, and most of the ones I've tried are like super complex, which I like complex wines, but it's very easy to drink. So why don't we try this and see what's up? Oh, we're supposedly, according to Dakota.
No, only
this. We gotta explain to them what it means.
No, only if you do it on like an Instagram story in a boomerang. It shows that you're a millennial. You can cheers people in day-to-day life.
Okay.
I think the youth still cheers people.
I randomly went to
they're not
Cheers.
drinking.
Okay, but I randomly went to Cheers You, and you were like, "Oh no, that's what millennials do."
You had your camera out.
No,
Oh, in my mind you did.
I didn't.
How's this wine?
Okay. Mind you, we're millennials over here, so I don't.
Ooh. Yummy.
I would say, what would you say?
I would say you get some dirty socks on the end. That's my favorite.
Her favorite note to comment on is dirty socks.
It's either there or it's not there.
I would say it's like high on like raspberry, like red fruit notes, like raspberry, cherry, cranberry even.
Ooh, definitely cranberry.
And it's almost like a hint of spice in it too, but like not super crazy.
I must feel like it's the terroir more than a spice to it. It's like the soil.
Yeah, well, they do have like what's called diluvial soils, which is basically like pebbles, gravel, and like fine soil mixed together. So the drainage.
Lava rock?
Yeah, lava rock.
We did a wine tasting, and I had 3 wines, and one was like clay, lava rock, and
Alluvial was the other one. No.
probably. I was like, that word is a word. And I tried to read it.
I would say it's medium bodied too.
Yeah.
And it has a good finish.
It almost feels, It felt a little young, but it's not that young. It's more.
It's a 2021 vintage.
It's the cranberry is what you get.
Yeah. What I tend to really like, any wine from like a high altitude place, I genuinely love, but I think the common theme that I see with it is that it is always a complex wine because you get good acidity, good tannins, and a good finish on the wine, and it's very easy to drink because
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting for this one. I feel like each note hits one at a time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't blur. Like, I feel like oftentimes, like, a lot of wines I've been drinking lately, like, you get, like, stone fruits or you get red fruits, and they're, like, all the red fruits together. And it's, like, this one slowly is just, like, notes being played on a piano. Like, it's one at a time. But it creates a very synergetic wine.
Wow, she says that so eloquently. Wait till she has another glass.
I took one class in Italy, and I'm a professional.
You're welcome.
It's hard. It's hard to be in my presence.
It's hard. So today we were talking about, earlier today we were talking about.
Last night.
Oh, last night.
Well, we were 2 beer flights deep.
Yeah, so yesterday we went out for beers. We got a flight of 6 beers. Mm-hmm. And then we decided it was a good idea.
We were like, one's not enough.
To get another 6th
And
flight.
to be clear, that was, you had one, I had one. We weren't sharing
We weren't sharing. No sharing in this process. No. And then we were going to magically film an episode after that.
And I passed out on the couch. Because I'm a millennial.
But we didn't even tell them the best part. That we had a sparkling wine right after the 12 beers we drank. You don't remember the sparkling wine we had?
Oh, while we had dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we got back.
I was like, we didn't have a nightcap.
We definitely had a nightcap, but with dinner.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's just called dinner.
Oh.
With wine.
Dinner with wine. But this is, I'm letting them know why.
Oh, you weren't there. I'm so sorry.
I'm letting them know why you fell asleep on the
I think couch. Because I'm old.
Well, yeah, combined with a lot of alcohol.
And 2 weeks on the road.
Yes.
We're running on hopes and dreams.
You needed a rest, but we're back.
We're rallying.
We're here with this high altitude wine.
Cranberries.
Just drinking away.
I love how they were like, tractors, we can't get those up there, but we can haul the cranberries from the bogs all the way up the mountain.
Labor at its finest.
Scrumptious.
So yesterday we were talking about how, I was like, oh wow, it gets darker here than it does in Florida. Like at 4:30 the sun is down.
Yeah.
And then in Florida, around 5:30 the sun is down. It's still kind of early, but I was just like, at 4:30 here, it kind of looks like it's already 9 p.m., which is crazy. And then she's like, yeah, we're known for having seasonal depression. Mm-hmm. So I wanted you to kind of touch on that and elaborate on that, because I feel like that's something I don't think I've experienced before, but you have.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's interesting too, because I feel like I grew up with a tomboy as a mother and 2 older brothers, and I'm 5 and 7 years younger than them, and so I've always tried to run as fast and as hard as I could to keep up with them, right? It's you're too little to play with us, so I must be bigger. I must do in metamorphism, that's not a word, myself into who I needed to be so that I could keep up with them. And through that, we grew up with we call it the Wallace tough mentality. And so it's if you skin your knee, get up, do it again, do it harder, do it better, keep pushing. And so I remember, and this goes hand in hand with anxiety and seasonal depression and even just depression at this point, is I didn't believe I could have it, because in my unspoken, right, it wasn't my dad sat us down and was like, you're weak if you feel this way, but it was an unspoken tonality. It was a written contract to our family that that's a sign of weakness, and you don't show weakness. You show strength, you show resilience, you show these other characteristics. And so I remember being in my 20s and realizing, I was I have anxiety. And I was whoa, so this isn't how life always has to be. Because at some point I was I think this is just life, and you have to run up the hill if you want to participate in the game, right? It's like playing soccer, but you're the only one running on an incline.
Yeah.
And it's wait a second, there's tools, techniques, medicines, whatever it is. And so that happened, and I worked through my anxiety, and now luckily I'm so good and so calm, and through 10 years of practices and rituals and meditations and all the works that I needed to do, have been able to release that from my life. But at that same point, when I was working through my anxiety, my mom passed away. And she always had a hard time. She was she loved the sun. She always had a hard time at winter. And so I grew up hearing this term, seasonal depression. And it's if you know the songwriter Noah Kahan, he has a song called Northern Attitude. And it basically is a song about seasonal depression. And it's a song about, we were raised out in the cold. So forgive our harder attitudes or more brittleness to ourselves. And so I I have a friend who's like really vulnerable and open about depression and sadness and all of those things. And so we kept talking. Oh, and my mom's death day is December 29th.
Yeah.
So the world is closing down, and it's like cocoon season, right? Like we all come into our houses, we stop being outside, and it's brutal here. Like it's not unusual to have single digit days. It's not unusual to go a week without seeing the sun. And it's great if you live on a ski mountain and you go skiing and you love outdoor activities.
Right.
But I winter up here at this condo, and my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece come up on the weekends. And then I'm alone in this house for 5 days. And there's a lot of, right, like I'm big on perspectives. And so they say no more talking. No.
That's a cue for the wine. Cue for the wine, please.
And so there's a lot of different perspectives that we can look at things. And that's really what I do as I kind of start to unravel what is, like, I think of an unexplored part of yourself is just a knot of yarn. And so I slowly start to untie these knots of yarns of myself and just look at them with curiosity instead of judgment, because I find judgment shuts us. Judgment is, that's wrong, I'm broken, I'm the problem. As curiosity is like, well, does anyone else feel this way? Mm-hmm. Has anyone else experienced this? Is there anything else I could do differently than what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And so as I started to explore this seasonal depression, it was like, well, what if we are like the trees or the bears and we need to hibernate?
Yeah.
What if there is a season?
That's
what
a
if the
great point.
whole reason that we have winter and we have these shorter days is that our bodies need to grow and recuperate, because we're always making new cells and new skin and new hair and nails? Does our body not get exhausted from doing that work? And then on top of that, we pressurize ourselves, right? We live, especially in this society, it's a pressure cooker. You have to always be doing more and more. You can't just have a job. You have to have a job and a side hustle and a hobby. And then you have to have a friends group and a relationship and all these things. And it's like,
it adds up.
Holy cow, how is this little human body on its first go around on this big rock floating through space supposed to do all these things when there isn't really a manual to it? And we're supposed to be hiding, or the millennial, right? Which is a big thing I love to talk about these days. I'm like the anti. I'm like, I'm not a millennial. I'm a youth. I'm a hardcore millennial. But it's like, we don't know. In our culture, our age group that we're in is really creating this environment of talking, but it's a little bit younger than us. We like started to break it open, but we're still kind of like, did that make you uncomfortable? Because like I could shine a little less bright if I'm making you uncomfortable with my light, you know?
Which shouldn't be the case.
Which should not be the case.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are getting better at stepping into that, but it still is a challenge because we have that internal dialogue that we were programmed with when we first kind of came in and had our boomer parents being boomers on us.
Well, because we're still working through that knot that you spoke about. Like, I love that analogy that you use, that it's like a knot, a yarn knot, basically. Yeah. And it's about like finding, I guess this hibernation is forcing you to like look within. So this quote unquote seasonal depression is forcing you to take a pause and look within to see, okay, what is it that is really deeply bothering me, and how can we learn from it and grow from it and even accept it? Because sometimes it's just accepting, you know, it's a part of you, but it doesn't mean that it has to stop you from doing all the things that you want to do.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the mentality that I've come to is like, it's really easy when the sun's out and you have 14 hours of sunlight and the birds are chirping and it's beautiful weather. It's really easy to go after your dreams. It's really easy to dream big. It's really easy to set these ambitious goals. But what's actually getting you out of the bed during these hard seasons? And then what is getting you out of the bed? Is that really lighting you on fire, or is it a have to, a must, like a sludge, a molasses that you have to work through? And so I think that, like, I think the biggest thing is accepting it, right? Is like, you came here and like, we were pumped for Girls Week, and I'm like, hey, I'm going through it this week. Like, I'm like, this week is a tough week. Like, I just got back from sunny Arizona. My body is like, why did you put me back into this freezer box? Like, I liked that sunshine and I liked that 70 degrees weather, and I am not a fan of whatever this is that you signed us up for.
I'm cracking up because I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh my God, snow. I've never seen
What is this? But you're like, I get to do this for a week, right? And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be the next longest 3 months of my life. Like, I've seen this play out before.
Yeah.
I've lived this life before, and I've lived this life for quite a few years. And so it's really getting to that point of like, this is your time to nourish yourself. And it's your time to communicate your needs. And it's the time to like ask for the space that you need.
Yeah.
And it's the time to process and digest and look through all of the things that kind of the rocks that aren't turned throughout the rest of the year, because there's so much other stuff going on. And I think that was something else we were talking about, was life purpose last night.
Yes.
And really talking a lot about this whole mentality of like, I don't know about you, but I was fed, like, you got to have these big dreams, like huge dreams. Like, you got to move mountains when you're here on Earth. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, I mean, my brother is getting his doctorates. I've run 3 companies at this point, and I'm only 30. Like, I'm over here and I'm like, it's not that I want to take my family gourmet food company and like 10x it. I want to make it the gourmet food company in America.
Who am I?
Why? Why do I need to do that? You know, like, why do I need these big ambitious things? And like, for those of us who have goals and dreams in our life, it's like, the question oftentimes is like, I like to look back on it and I'm like, who gave me that dream?
But do you think ambition comes from where you grew up, or do you think that's something that you like get out from within? You know what I mean? Because you can go down both paths, but I know a lot of people that have been through a rough like upbringing, and they are the most ambitious people I know. And I know people that have been given everything and they are the least ambitious people that I know. So like, where do you think ambition comes from? And like, what do you think makes people have that drive to accomplish what they want to accomplish? Because it goes back to like life purpose of what we're talking about.
And I think before that tangent is, I think the big thing is like, everybody can't be the number one, right? Because then we're all number one and there's no number one. And so, and that I feel like is a super boomer mentality, but it's like,
which is what we kind of spoke about this before, that like not everyone's gonna have super big ambitions, and like there's people that are okay with like 9 to 5, get my check, and have my family.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because there has to be people willing to do all of their jobs. There has to be people excited or engaged to do all their jobs, or we fall apart as a society.
For sure.
But
everyone has their part that they have to play in society.
Yeah.
For sure.
And sometimes too, right, there's a lot of different theories on this. So I think one theory people often are is like, well, they're not awoke, right? They're not spiritually aware, or like
I'm cracking up because I heard that today. If you say you're woke, it's like, that's the most millennial thing to say.
I'm so old. I have gray hairs. It's fine. I got wrinkles. Fine. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the thing is like, we give this pressure that like, well, you just haven't found your purpose yet. But to go off of where I think purpose comes from, when I was deep down my rabbit hole of understanding our neurological system, how our brain works, how to optimize our brain, and how to become the most efficient, happy, fulfilled version of yourself, there's 2 categories that we all fall into.
2.
1. Well, there's 2. But first there is towards motivated people. I would often say sometimes, or at least how you speak, you are a towards motivated person. Ooh. You say, I want to be a billionaire, therefore I'm going to move towards being a billionaire.
Okay.
There are away motivated people, therefore the kid who grew up in foster care and is like, I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to age out of this. I don't want my kids to go into foster care. I don't want to not know where my next meal's coming. Not that that happens in foster care, but oftentimes before you're phased into foster care, you can come from some really tough situations. Those are the stories of the people who were homeless and then became millionaires. They are away motivated because they said, that ends today. I will never go back there, and I will make sure everyone I love never has to go back there again.
It's like two different extremes.
So it's like, and right, like there's the people who are really motivated when it's like, oh my God, you did such a good job today. I'm so proud of you, versus I love that, but these are the 3 things I think you could do better for tomorrow. One person is going to hear one thing and be like, yay. And the other person's going to hear the other thing and be like, that person doesn't get me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, that's great for telling me what I did right. I'm away motivated. So I'm like, that's great for telling me what I did right, but I can't get better if you don't tell me what I did wrong.
Yeah.
So tell me so I can fix it. Like, I'm not perfect at anything. So like, tell me how I can be better.
Yeah.
And so I think oftentimes like that, there has to be, I think towards motivated people, it's almost like an innate internal draw. As a way motivated people are just like, I'm not going back there.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a survival mode for way motivated people, no?
It oftentimes can be. Because to a degree, a way motivated person is running from something.
Yeah.
And normally they can stop.
Yeah.
Once they get something, but they have to pause and be aware of it, or they will constantly be like, it's going to catch me. It's going to catch up with me.
Would you say that's where like those people need to know what their traumas were and like work on those traumas?
So yes and no.
I mean, that can go for both people. I'm not
Both,
saying
yes.
Yeah. Go.
Nectar of the gods.
Drops of
So
gods.
I mean, this is where I get really cautious, and I think this is where people can really get touchy about certain things, right? So this is my experience, this is my opinion, this is through my lifestyle, this is through the studies and research and
knowledge,
mentorship that I have been given and done, and it's not for everyone, because if there was just one size fits all, then this would already have been implemented into everything. I think the key is to understand where your buttons are and what your motivators are and what your deactivators are. And so to get to know your trauma enough so that you say, hey friend, I see you showing up again. But I believe, and I think this is something I'm still working through. I think it's okay to get rid of all your trauma, but I think sometimes if we get rid of all our trauma, then we just want to live in peace and oneness, right? We're like, I'm almost content. I'm at peace with my life now. And so I think there is this power in our trauma that motivates us to shift the world.
Yeah, of course. But I feel like our experiences are because experiences are essentially traumas, and not all of them, like some
Capital
of them.
T, little t.
Little t, big T.
Big T.
Yeah. But they're what shape us or motivate us to be where we're at, right?
Yeah.
They can either be motivators or they can be the thing that holds us back from doing something better or something with our life or understanding.
Well, if it's the gas that gets the car going, or is it is it your decelerator or your accelerator?
Right.
So is it the story that you get stuck in? Nobody loves me, I'm not enough, I can't do that, I'm too dumb, I'm dyslexic, I can't read, whatever the story is.
Right.
Well, then why even try?
Yeah.
I already failed before I put on my shoes today. So is it the decelerator or is it the accelerator? Is it the thing that's like, I'm going to prove people that even as a dyslexic, I can become a doctorate in something.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove to people that I'm not the gas station attendant they told me I would be.
Yeah. And I think there's also power too in I think you unlock a next version of yourself when you don't have to prove anything to anybody, but that comes after I have worked on my traumas and healed everything phase, where you are living so authentically and raw in your truth that you don't need to be I'm going to show them, because ultimately you're doing everything for you, you know?
Well, you're towards motivated, so yes.
So a towards motivated person would be and think like that, but in a way.
Not in a way, but within a way motivated person is once I release that, then I'm good. Because there's nothing to run from. So my motivation is to get away from.
Okay.
Your motivation is to get towards something, even if you're not, like, even if there's nothing bad. You're the type of person who could have got life on a silver spoon and everything was hunky-dory and nothing bad ever happened to you in your life. And you're like, I'm going to make something out of this life because you're going towards something. As an away motivated person needs that fire under their butt.
Yeah. To get
and so if you take away my fire, I'm like, right, that's kind of what happens with me in seasonal depression is I'm like, so the world is shut down. I'm okay. I'm Gucci. I'm going to sleep all day.
But would you say then that you function in chaos? Because like that's what that makes me think of.
I think unhealed trauma, it's chaos.
Okay.
Healed is I need accountability to somebody else. Okay. Right? Because I'm at the level of healedness that I don't need to do more for me. I love myself unconditionally exactly as I am. I am so proud of myself. I think I'm so enough. So I don't need to become the next gourmet food company in the world, right? If we take away everything else. But when I look at how much of my dad's blood, sweat, and tears he put into this company, when I look at what he would lose if this company goes under, when I look at my mentors who have poured into me and taught me so much about business and have taken so much special time to make sure that I have every skill I need to succeed, I'm like, I'm not letting those people down. Right. Those people believe in me and they know I have the capability from it. I will not waste their time that they gave me to make me the badass I am. Therefore, I will go and do.
So what would you say is your life purpose?
You know, that was a very intense question my brother was asking me in Hungary on Christmas Day when he was 3 sheets to the wind and I had just woken up from a nap and I was like, we are on 2 different levels, my friend. I think I'm at a crossroads in my life purpose. And I think I'm really mulling it over and not in a negative way, right? Like I think there's ways to eat your cake and have it too, and it's kind of the theme of even today, but it's been the theme of the last kind of year and a half of my life is that when I get really into business, I get really into my masculine. I am really authoritative. I'm really clear. I'm concise. All the things that are the healed masculine, that person who can make a company take off and flourish and go and can work 14-hour days and can do the things. I am really in that when I'm in my business mode. But that's not the feminine. Yeah. And that's not the relaxed and the go with the flow. That's plans and timelines and every minute of my day scheduled to a T. And so as I come into this next decade of my life is really looking at motherhood and really looking at companionship and really looking at love. And I've had so many wonderful partners, but that sounds ambitious. I've had wonderful partners, so many. My TikTok is jammed full of like women who are trying to break the records of how many men they can sleep with in one day. And I'm like, that is not my thing, but the algorithm thinks it's my thing right now. Wrong audience, but I will continue to watch because I'm weirdly amazed of why.
She actually showed me that TikTok and I was like, that is not normal.
All I have to say is like, ouch. Like I'm not here to yuck your yum, like live your truth, like rock on, that's your passion. But
why?
Like, ow. Like 24 hours? Okay, not the point.
Anyways.
My passions. And that I know that I need to be in my feminine to attract my partner. Yeah. I need to be in my feminine to show my daughter what that's like. She doesn't exist yet, but my fictional daughter who may or may not come, you know, and it's like, I want to be. I desire to be that person. And so now I'm really at that crossroads of like, if you asked me 2 years ago, my goal is to build an empire, a business empire that is based around creating jobs that employees line up at the doors to have, because I take such good care of my employees. I want to start a company that is so holistic, that takes care of them, is a wonderful work environment that people are thriving to be at. And I want them to believe in the product that they're creating. I want them to believe in the mission. I want them to believe in the people it will help, and I want them to feel empowered to help these people through these products, through the customer service, through the sales, through all of it. And by a byproduct, then I'll have customers who rave and love the product.
Right.
And that, I think, is one of my life purposes. And it just so happens that right now that gets to play out through my family's third generation gourmet food company. And that's wonderful. But I also, on the flip side, I'm like, another one of my passions and purposes is like to be a mom and to be a nurturer and to take care of things. And so it's a really interesting juxtaposition as a female, is like, how do we have both? And does one come at a cost of the other not being at 100%? Can both be at 100%? And a story that I have, that I'm working through, that I'm playing with, that I'm, participating in, is that a lot of the really powerful women that I know who are in loving relationships, my sister-in-law is one of them, my old boss is one of them, there's quite a few that I can name, is they met their partner before they were in their boss babe era.
Interesting.
And so they met their partner when they were still in their surrender feminine. They even met their partner sometimes when they weren't in a good financial place, and the man could come in and be masculine and take care of and provide. And so I am really at this interesting juxtaposition right now that I'm like, ooh, I kind of missed that ship. I didn't miss that ship. My life wasn't meant to work out that way. It was never an option. I wasn't there. I'm so glad I didn't pick those ships. I just let them sail by. But I am at this place that I'm like, there doesn't feel like there's time to pause, right? This company is taking off and it needs all hands on deck. And it doesn't feel like, fertility-wise, that I can pause another 3 years to meet this partner. But it's like, one will have to come at the cost of the other. Or the alternative is I marry a man in his feminine.
So you don't think a woman in her feminine can run a company and build an empire the way that you want your empire to be built?
She can, but there has to be a masculine role. Business is a very masculine energy.
So then essentially, what if, this is a theory of mine, right? Just listening to you now speak about all of this. What if this pause that's showing up for you, aka seasonal depression, right, is maybe having you reflect on, maybe I should be a little bit more in my feminine so that I can meet that person to then get back into building the empire. So like taking a pause to like maybe be in that feminine to attract that masculine in, to then continue on your purpose of fulfilling the empire that you want to build.
Yes, and I think it's an interestingly quick pause I have, right? Because spring is coming in March.
Yeah.
And like, I say that I'm in a depressive state, or like a seasonal depressive state right now, and I'm like, I am doing more in a day than the average person does in a week still. And I'm not fully.
But that's less for what you normally do.
Less for me.
Yeah.
But I also, like, there is this juxtaposition, and it is something I'm playing with too, right? Is like, well, I'll come out of hibernation, and he's going to be like, whoa, who are you? Right? Because I'm not hoodwinking him. I'm not like, surprise!
Dakota comes out of
actually, like.
You come out of hibernation, hello, I'm here.
I'm like, I am masculine! I'm like, so it's just like, I just think it's just an interesting conversation that's been showing up, and I don't think I have the answers. I think there's always a will and a way, but I think it will come at the choice of, is my non-negotiable a very masculine partner?
Yeah.
Or is my non-negotiable making all my dreams come true, and I'm okay with a more feminine partner? He doesn't have to be fully in his feminine. He can have authoritative ways that can help me surrender in ways, but am I okay with my husband being more feminine than the story, right? Like I wanted like Lumberjack Jeff, right? If I like
Lumberjack Jeff.
He's like, I wear flannel and I pick things up and I put them down and I cut trees.
Watch me cut
Look
some
at my
wood.
blisters. I am man. And he's like, and somehow I make $1 million doing that, right? Like, I work on the outside of the street. I wear shirts. Shirts are for the weak. Like, but I will pull your chair out, you know? And it's like, so like, that's Lumberjack Jeff, you know? And it's like, and it's funny too, because even as like, I playfully talk about Lumberjack Jeff, or even like when I was telling Nicole the other day, like, one of my best friends who I've known since I was 13, I was describing to him my ideal partner, because we were talking about this story, right? This is a theme right now in my life. And he's like, why do you want to date yourself? And I was like, oh, well, that sounds conceited when you put it like that, Bradley. You know, it's like, maybe I don't want to date myself. So it is an exploratory time. And so maybe the hibernation isn't necessarily a hibernation of not getting work done. The hibernation is really peeling back the layers of the stories and the essence of what I was told I wanted, or what society told me I wanted, right? We all like want Channing Tatum, but then we found out he's bisexual and we're like, whoa. He's got some feminine. Okay, still want him, like, you know, it's kind of old now. He's definitely.
Damn, you did him dirty right now. You know, we're a millennial just like him, right?
See, I feel like he's like 20 years older than us.
I mean, he not 20, but like he's still a millennial.
He's not that old. Yes, and so I think that's really the thing. He's a wonderful man. If he knocked on my door, I would use a hall pass. There's no one for me to use. No, I don't need a hall pass. I was checking to make sure if I needed a hall pass in my life right now. I don't. Okay. Just filing in. Beep, bop, boop. Beep, bop, boop. Nope, I'm okay. No hall pass needed. But yeah, I think, and so bringing it back, putting a bow on it to a degree is like, I think, one, mental health is a really serious topic. And so if you ever feel depressive, if you ever feel anxious, if you ever feel like you're not in control of your body, get the help, talk to people, go to safe spaces. There are so many wonderful places that can provide help and security. I personally have really mentally aware friends, or mental health aware friends. And so I just do check-ins with them, because sometimes therapists haven't always worked for me. Sometimes they've been wonderful at different seasons in my life. So I always make sure that there's somebody else who knows the chaos that's inside my brain, because otherwise we put ourselves on an island and we feel isolated and like we're the only one having the experience. And oftentimes I show up in rooms full of other women and I'll share my big vulnerable thing and everyone else is like, me too. And you're like, well,
I'm not the only one going through
well, rock on. We're all suffering together, and not great, but like at least I'm not alone on this ship.
Right.
But so I think that's really important. But I think also, like, if you're someone like Nicole and I, if you're someone who's really dived deep into self-development and you really are understanding yourself enough that there's almost like some elasticity to it, some play, some give when you start to look at like, that's curious, I'm behaving in this way.
Right. The awareness.
Why? Yeah. Why am I playing in this way? Yeah. And so it's like, whenever I kind of notice myself going into an internal reflective state, I'm like, what do I need to look at? What do I need to reflect on internally right now?
Yeah.
What am I not giving attention to that's raising its hand and saying like, hey, please look at this right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the stages I'm in, is like, this is a huge crossroad. I've always said that I wanted to run this company, and I've always said that I want to be a mom.
I think you're at a really pivotal point in your life, not only like business-wise, but like personal life-wise. So I only see, it going up from here, because like when you're in the gutter, it can only get better from there when you clear the gutter. So
analogy keeps going.
Analogy just keeps rolling in.
But yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, I so firmly believe in this or something better, and I so firmly believe in everything happens for a reason. So like, I have no fear of what's going to come, but I also have a fear that if I don't change or bring deep awareness to my situation, I'm going to have to choose.
Yeah.
Because there's going to have to be a really conscious energy shift right now to have both those realities. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but if I don't put in the work and I'm not hyper aware of it,
the crossroad is going to happen.
I'm right before, and it's like, if you keep going down this track the same way, we're going to have to make you choose.
Yeah, because the signs are there.
Signs are there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, but if you can get your shenanigans together and you can get in a masculine COO to your company who can hold that masculine energy so you can be in the creative feminine energy.
Yeah.
And if you can start showing up in your feminine in your life, then you might be able to have both.
Then, boom, daughter, done, have it.
Baby, stroller.
Baby, stroller, mom, CEO.
Man bun.
Empire.
Thank you. I deserve this.
And that is how it all happens.
And wine.
Yeah, and wine. Which, for this wine, by the way, what would you rate this wine?
8 out of 10.
That was so quick. No suspense. I know. I take long.
8 out of 10.
I would rate it an 8.5.
Whoa!
Because I really...
you rate on a 10 scale?
Yeah.
I didn't even listen for you to give me instructions of what I could... See? Masculine.
Masculine. She's just like, go, go, go.
I was like, it's my world. Thanks for being in it.
Yeah, I rate in a 10 scale, and I tend to have high ratings, but it's because I enjoy a lot of different wines.
I just enjoy wine, period.
A lot of people can relate with you on that one.
If you want to be my friend.
But I genuinely love the Nebbiolo grape. That's why I would rate it an 8.5 out of 10. I do think it is a little bit... Well, Nebbiolos tend to be expensive. This one costs $21.99.
That's not that bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but like I've gotten other Italian wines a little bit cheaper, so like that's what I'm comparing it to. But yeah, I stand on my 8.5. You stand on your 8.
Because I feel like, right, like my go-to wine that I know I can find anywhere is like Freak Show's Cab.
Oh gosh.
Not a fan.
No, actually, I actually do like that one. I'm gonna take that back. I don't dislike that one.
But just like, it's a solid choice, no matter wherever you are, is kind of my thing. Like when you're, and I'm not someone who looks at a wine list like you, and I'm like, oh, and I don't like accidentally get like a 3 wine tasting when I'm just supposed to order wine.
That happened to me the other day.
Twice in one day.
Actually, twice in one day.
I
just ask questions.
She does, and it's great. I'm like, I don't even know how to pronounce that grape. I'll just point and go.
Well, the lady was like, I don't want you to have a bad experience, so here's all this wine. Tell me which one you like. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I am in heaven.
And you're like,
now.
I would like to try 2 other ones as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. This is my world.
Thank you.
But so, and that wine is where I was going with that. Is that wine is a $19.99 wine.
Yeah.
It's a $20 wine. So to see that this wine's really drinkable, but it's a much more unusual wine. It has a lot more character to it. It would stand out in a blind tasting. It would be conversational.
Right.
I'm like, for $2 more.
Yeah.
This would be a much funner wine. That's good English to bring to a dinner party than
for sure, because it's a conversation
that most people have had.
starter.
Yeah. And so that's where I was like 21 something isn't bad.
And now like kind of thinking about it too, like this is made. It's a small production area for this specific grape.
That's pretty inexpensive for small production.
I know. That's why I was like,
I have no clue. Who am I to say anything?
I take back what I said. It's not a bad price, but anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I, as always, love having these deep conversations with you, Dakota.
Just my one-sided monologues.
As a human being, she is an amazing person, badass boss over here with a bunch of companies under her belt.
I'm in my masculine again.
And you're masculine again, but I learn a lot from her with wanting to start my own company. So thank you, and I appreciate you and love you so much. And let's do this again anytime you have some time.
Yeah, how about after this?
Cheers, guys. We'll see you on the next one.